الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد المرسلين أما بعد. I'm still with Surah Al-Saffat. Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala tells us in this beautiful surah, chapter 37, in verses 123 to 126. بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وإن إلياس لمن المرسلين إذ قال لقومه ألا تتقون أتدعون بعلا وتذرون أحسن الخالقين الله ربكم ورب آبائكم الأولين. And Elias was indeed one of the messengers. And he said to his people, will you not fear Allah? Do you call upon the idol of Baal and abandon the best of creators? Allah, your Lord and the Lord of your forefathers. Now it is from the mercy of Allah that He sends messengers to mankind to guide us to Him. And the Quran mentions a few of those messengers, not all of them. I mean, there are a lot more than what was mentioned in the Quran. And Elias, in Hebrew, Elias, was one of them. He was sent to the area of Syria where they used to worship an idol called Baal. And the message of all messengers, that's what all of the messengers, the message that they come, with is Allah is one and fear Allah. أَلَا تَتَّقُونَ. That's the message of all of the messengers. They come to remind people to fear Allah. Because life is full of dangers, and the biggest danger is death. If somebody is oblivious of what's coming after death, they're in trouble. Their trouble begins after death. So we must protect ourselves from Allah's wrath by fearing Him, by being steadfast, by obeying His orders. Because Allah has a lot of painful punishment in this life and in the next. In this life is just a little sample. In the hereafter, it's unbelievable. And the messengers, they come and tell people, can't you see how the wicked ended up? Don't you see, all the nations before you, they were all destroyed when they were bad. Must you experience it for yourself before you learn? أَلَا تَتَّقُونَ. Don't you fear Allah? أَتَدْعُونَ بَعْلًا وَتَذَرُونَ أَحْسَنَ الْخَالِقِينَ. You abandon Allah and you worship a piece of stone that cannot move, does not hear you, cannot talk to you, cannot answer you, cannot do anything for you. Neither good or bad. Doesn't do anything for you. It's a piece of stone. Where is your mind? You leave Allah who created you and who has everything in His power, and you worship this piece of rock. And the interesting part, أحسن الخالقين, the best of creators. Now, technically, there's only one creator. Allah is the only creator. But that term is a figure of speech in the Quran. Just like when the Quran says, for the people who are not good with money, it says, وَارْزُقُوهُمْ فِيهَا. You be the Razzaq to them. But Allah is the Razzaq. But it's a figure of speech that Allah is talking to us from our own understanding. There is only one creator, but in our mind, when somebody invents something, you look at him as a creator, but not really. They just discovered it. Allah is the creator. But it's a figure of speech. فَكَذَّبُوهُ فَإِنَّهُمْ لَمُحْضَرُونَ in verse 127. But they rejected Him, so they will certainly be brought for punishment. That's the nature of all of the people throughout, from Adam till the end of time. The people who follow their desires. Whenever somebody comes in with a message from Allah that ties up their hands, you can no longer do whatever you want, they fight them. Because Allah's orders conflicts with their desires. They want to take whatever is not theirs. They want to be, over people. They want to exceed all bounds, and they don't want any type of reminder or any type of law that restricts them from doing so. So the people, the disbelievers will always reject and fight the messengers. But the end of denying the messengers and refusing to follow is فَإِنَّهُمْ لَمُحْضَرُونَ. They will be brought for punishment. And that is a terrifying, punishment, because Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala, when He created us, we are all in His grip. Nobody is independent or can guarantee any type of safety from Allah. Allah has control over all of His creation. As if all of us are tied up to a very strong rope. And Allah gives us a lot of slack in this life. Take that slack and do whatever you want. The disbelievers, they move around randomly and destructively, and because they can't, nobody's tugging yet, they think that they're free to do whatever they want until Allah pulls that rope. And now, إِنَّهُمْ لَمُحْضَرُونَ. They are brought for punishment. So, we have the choice to go to Allah willingly, or we have the choice to be brought to Him in humiliation and, with punishment. That's the options. You do it nice way, you do it the hard way. It's up to you. A disbeliever returning to Allah is like a bad criminal who is caught, tied up in chains, drugged, in the streets, people spitting at him and kicking him and cursing at him. That's what a disbeliever, that's actually very, very gentle compared to what's waiting for them in the hereafter. But just to get an idea of what muhdar, that term is brought for punishment, it's, think of a criminal who is drugged and being, getting taken to be executed. In humiliation, and, nobody wants to be in that situation. Compare that, but Allah says, إِلَّا عِبَادَ اللَّهِ الْمُخْلَصِينَ. The people who are safe from being brought in that manner, in that humiliating and painful manner, are عِبَادَ اللَّهِ الْمُخْلَصِينَ, but not the chosen servants of Allah. A believer who is chosen, they're chosen because they purify themselves in this life. I mentioned that last week. أَخْلَصَ فَأُخْلِصَ. Akhlasa is he purified himself by obedience, by following Allah's commands, lived life according to what the Quran and the Sunnah wants you to live. They purified themselves from sin, from bad creed, incorrect creed, from shirk, from envy, from all of the sicknesses of the spirit. They purified themselves, so Allah chose them. Akhlasa fa'ukhlisa. Those people who Allah has chosen because they purified themselves and obeyed Him are exempt from that treatment. The way a believer is brought to Allah is like a traveling person being returned to his family. It's a joyous occasion. It's like you get this very nice card, very elaborate card, says you are invited to this, to this party, and you have red carpets and you have people kind of driving you and taking you, and all of the while they're praising you and welcome, we're glad that you can come, and love and affection and nice food and comfortable. That's how a believer, when he returns to Allah. You want that, or you want to be brought in chains, drug on your face. That's the options that we have as human beings. You obey Allah, you be honored. You disobey Him, then you open yourself up for punishment. وَتَرَكْنَا عَلَيْهِ فِي الْآخِرِينَ سَلَامٌ عَلَى إِلْيَاسِينَ in verses 129 and 130. We blessed him with honorable mention among later generations. Peace be upon Elias. Now the story of Prophet Elias is done. Just like when I mentioned the stories before. The story in itself is not meant to be a story. Allah gives us that story and switches it to Allah. And Allah says, إِنَّا كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ إِنَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا الْمُؤْمِنِينَ verses 131 and 132. Indeed, this is how we reward the good doers, al-muhsin. He was truly one of our faithful servants. That's the law. that if you behave like Prophet Elias, you will be safe from being brought for punishment. You'll be greeted with salam from as-salam. Allah is as-salam. That's one of his names, the peace. And for Allah to greet you with salam, with peace, means happiness, means contentment. This is, Dar as-salam is paradise, Jannah. Jannah is called Dar as-salam because there is nothing in it that ruins the mood. Everything that you want is there. There's no old age. There is no hunger. There's no need. There is no hatred. There is no enemies. There is no nothing. It's just peace. Peace and contentment. And that's what Allah is offering. You want that treatment? You want Allah to treat you with salam, to say salamu alayka ya Abdullah, to treat you on the day of judgment with peace and with honor, with all of these nice things that come with that. If you want that, then let's review what the law, Allah's law that He told us in those verses. First, إِنَّهُ مِنْ عِبَادِنَا الْمُؤْمِنِينَ. You have to be from Allah's faithful servants. You have to be a mu'min. That's one. إِنَّا كَذَلِكَ نَجْزِي الْمُحْسِنِينَ. You have to be a doer of good. It's not enough to believe. You have to put that belief into action, and that action has to benefit yourself and everyone around you and the community and mankind by extension. If you hoard that knowledge and you don't do anything with it, you're doing yourself a big disservice. You have to benefit others, even animals, anything. You have to be a doer of good, muhsin. You have to be excellent in anything that you do. At your job, you're a muhsin. At your home, as a father, you're a muhsin. At work, as a boss, you're a muhsin. If you are an employee, you're a muhsin. You do your job the best way that you can. That's what the biyah from the muhsin is. You want Allah to greet you with salam, and you want the price to be nothing? No, it's a lot of hard work, but we have to do it. If that's what the goal of what we want, then this is the formula. Be a mu'min, be a muhsin, purify yourself with sincerity and steadfastness. Be from ibad Allah al-mukhlasin. Be from the chosen people of Allah because you're worth being chosen. You're a good person. You follow exactly what Allah wants. You be like Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He is mukhlas. And the Sahaba were mukhlasin. Be like them and have Allah choose you. And last but not least, fear Allah. أَلَا تَتَّقُونَ. That's what we understand from those verses. We have to fear Allah as the one and only God, worthy of worship and worthy of obedience. Anyone who orders you to disobey Allah in order for them to be happy with you, get away from me. You please Allah first, don't worry about people. People will, if you please Allah, He'll make people happy with you. If you please people with angering Allah, Allah will make them angry at you. That's the law. So be like Prophet Elias and pay that price to be greeted with salam by as-salam. اللهم أنت السلام ومنك السلام حينا ربنا بالسلام وادخلنا دار السلام بسلام تباركت وتعاليت يا ذا الجلال والإكرام. قولي هذا استغفر الله لكم واستغفروه.